Hi there, I'm Niklas Kaskeala. I'm the head of sustainability at Compensate. Compensate is a non-profit foundation with the mission to solve the climate crisis by offering people the way to offset the emissions of their everyday lives. So what is essentially causing the climate change? Well, it's us humans adding the amount of CO2 in the atmosphere. So what has humanity's solution to solving the climate crisis been thus far? Well, basically, keep adding CO2 into the atmosphere, but just do it at a slower rate. Even if we could somehow magically halve all global emissions overnight, we would still be adding CO2 in the atmosphere. And we have to realize that we've surpassed the so-called safe limits of CO2 concentration back in 1987. So even though radical emission cuts and coming to zero emissions as soon as possible is the primary way to solve the climate crisis, we need to realize that that's not enough. We need to remove CO2 from the atmosphere and do it at a systemic level. Compensate has a service that provides consumers a way to both reduce their emissions and also reduce CO2 from the atmosphere. We do this by putting a price on the climate impact consumer choices have. By putting a price, people become more aware of their choices and thus are able to choose more sustainably. We're not just another offset provider that provides a one-to-one ratio compensation. We actually have an inbuilt overcompensation model that ensures that more CO2 has been removed from the atmosphere than our consumption causes. Thus, we're providing answers to the bigger systemic issue. We believe that when people lead the way, companies, institutions, governments, policies will follow. I invite you to join us to build a carbon negative future. Thanks.